Okay, so ASUS have just sent me the NUC Pro to test, and this is the Intel NUC with a powerful Intel Ultra 7 155H CPU, and it's tiny, but there is a smaller version. This is the one called Tool, which I'm pleased about because it has more options. One cool feature is that it's completely toolless to get into, so if we slide this down and we can just pick this up and the base comes off. You can see here there's some cables inside, and this cable is for a 2.5-inch drive. Now you could take an old 2.5-inch drive out of a laptop and put that inside this, but I'm going to use an SSD, and I've already got Linux on this. So while this is open, let's see how easy it is to put this inside. So I can see the slots here for the drive. So it's this way around. Oh, okay, and that bit's toolless as well. Now while we've got it open, you can see there's an NVMe drive in here, and also another slot for another NVMe, and there's my cat. Go on out. And a couple of sticks of RAM in here. I'll go through the specs in a minute. For the NVMe's, there's this copper heatsink and also some heat spreaders here. And a really cool feature is these little plastic bits instead of a screw for the NVMe drive. So there's no screw to lose, and you just push it in place. And you're not going to lose it because it's held in place by the other bit of plastic. Nice. Let's put this back in place, and it does say align first, and it also tells you where the front is. So it's like that. That's so cool. So this was what was in the box. So a load of paperwork, screws, which are to attach this monitor mount to the NUC, 120 watt power supply with a decent sized barrel jack. Oh, and something that's gone missing. This bit, which I'll show in a minute, a sticker, which is very nice, and a mains cable. So this appears to be that you can screw it in the back here. So this bit here. And it looks to be maybe for security, also maybe for holding cables in place, so maybe the mains cable or another cable you don't want pulled out. It also has a Kensington lock for security as well, but I don't need it for here. So it comes pre-installed with Windows 11, and this version is, if I do about Windows 11 Pro. I've been playing around with it because when you get a mini PC, you tend to install a load of things. I've got games and all sorts of things installed on it. But obviously I did put Linux on it, so let's just have a look at that. Let's shut down. And if I switch on and start tapping F10, we have this boot menu, and you can see the top one says Neon, which is my SSD drive that I put in, the crucial one. Let's log in. Now we've got Linux on here, and if we open a few desktops, so let's go with Firefox, let's go with the Discover Store, and let's go with Waydroid, which is Android in Linux. And then if we press Windows and C, we can have Android. We've got our files, Firefox, and the Discover Store, which is where you install your apps and everything. And the Android works really well. So if I download, say, Aptoid, which is an app store, you can see, so this is Android working within Linux on that drive. Let's download that. I have tried to get this working on my Raspberry Pi, but I just can't get to the final bit. It starts to load and then comes up with an error. But works perfectly on this. So that should be downloaded now. There you go, let's click on that and we'll allow it. And if we go back and install, let's open that up. We can skip all this. And if we wanted to install a game, what have we got on here? Let's go with 100 pics and install and allow. And while it's doing that, Windows C, we can go back and we can pick the browser, and we'll look for this ASUS NUC 14 Pro. Actually, the link I've been sent is an Amazon one, so let's have a look at that, because I think this is all about configuring, so you can get loads of different versions of these. But the spec on this one is this. So as I've mentioned before, Intel Core Ultra 7 155H, 16 cores in total, 22 threads. The NPU is an 8 times, and NPUs, I've been reading about NPUs a lot. So they're all about AI and improving the performance in AI, but definitely lowering the amount of power it needs to perform AI tasks. So they're very, very efficient cores. And like you have a GPU for games or for 3D graphics, you have an NPU for AI performance. And they want to try and get AI to be more localized on your computer rather than have to do it through the web because it requires so much power. So mine came with a terabyte M.2 drive, which is the 2280, so the longer size, PCIe 4. But it also has another smaller slot for the 2242 size and that 2.5-inch enclosure, which I'm running Linux from at the moment. So we've got dual 16 gig DDR5 RAM to give us a total of 32 gig. We've got Bluetooth 5.3, Wi-Fi 6E, so fin cooling architecture and dual copper tube direct contact technology. It is very quiet. I haven't made it work hard yet, but it is very quiet. Intel Arc had a bit of a boost with this generation, so we're getting better 3D and graphics performance. Connectivity wise, I really like to have this on the front of my device, so a USB-C and 2 USB-A is really handy. And we've got 2 Thunderbolt 4 sockets, so they can be used for displays, but also very high-speed connections. We've got USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A socket, and another Type A, which is USB 2.0, 2.5 gig Ethernet, 2 HDMI 2.1 sockets, and let's press Windows C and see how that app's getting on. So it's this one here, and I just need to allow it to install the app. And if I go back, and then install, and let's open that up. I picked this because I'm using mouse and keyboard at the moment. I was wondering what would work. So what have we got? Wi-Fi. Oh, it's already written. They don't make it hard, do they? I guess it is the early levels. Right, okay, let's pick this one. Okay, that's definitely pizza. So you can see Android is working fine. So this time on boot, if we press F10, we get this menu, and let's pick the Windows Boot Manager. So here's Windows. Let's jump into a bit of gaming. I've got Fortnite loaded up here. And I've got a controller plugged in, so let's just do a solo battle royale. It picked the best settings for me, so I don't know how well it's going to do that. It looks incredibly crisp, so I'm a little bit worried that it might have gone a bit ambitious. Definitely can hear the fan now. It's boosting up to give it all the power it needs. Okay, so it's always a bit sketchy on this bit, so you kind of reserve judgment, but that looks really good. Whatever these settings it's chosen, that seems to be coping really well with that. We'll see what it's like in game, but if this is any indication, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's nice and smooth. Yeah, it's coping with that as well. I'm actually quite surprised. I wasn't expecting Intel integrated graphics to be as good, but this is an Ultra 7. What's that? Is that a better weapon? Yeah, that looks pretty decent. I've had no slowdowns at all. This is really performing well. Oh, someone's up here. Oh dear. Come on, don't lose at the first person. What am I throwing? Oh. Oh. Can I get... Oh, I need some health really. Oh, they had a gold weapon. Is it dangerous to go down here? It probably is, isn't it? But let's... Come on, gold weapon. No, no. Why would you not fall down? Oh, it is falling down. Oh. Why is that? Why can't I get through that? Okay, I'm leaving that. Oh, someone's coming. Let's get some distance away. What a shot! How good is this weapon? Oh! Oh, that was very good though. Let's have a look at the settings. So 1920 by 1080, let's turn off the audio. 60 FPS. To be fair, it did a really good job. Look, and view distance far, we've got lots of high on there, very impressive. So back on Linux to show that the 4 monitor outputs work. So this monitor is a USB-C monitor and it's just plugged into the USB-C socket on the back. The other USB-C socket is going into this Ugreen HDMI adapter, which is going into the TV at the back, which is a 4K TV, which you can only see half of. And because of my cats, I have this barrier in the way so that they can't get in there. Although earlier on, this happened, and so I need to rethink something, or I just can't leave the doors open on this cupboard. And the other 2 monitors are connected with an HDMI. The touchscreen, for some reason, on this screen, it operates the screen above it. There's probably a way of changing it, but I can actually do it with Windows. So I'll close this down and just reboot in Windows. And just to show it starting up. So it's on this screen at the moment, so I need to use the touchscreen to pop my password in. And you can see now I have 4 screens working with Windows. So here's my touchscreen, which is working fine. So if I call up Chrome, I've got a video here, so we'll start that playing, and I can drag that up to any one of the screens and move it around. So everything is all working nicely on the 4 screens. Back to Linux with just the touchscreen on its own, just to show that with USB-C it works with touchscreen support. So I can control the apps and so on here. I've got Waydroid running, the Android side of it, and you can see I can switch between that. I can pull up from the base to get the apps, and I can drag down from the side to get all the notifications and everything. Yeah, really working well with Linux. Touchscreen is really well supported. So I'm using my power checking plug here and checking how much power it uses to play a 4K video. So it's 1080 monitor, but it's playing in 4K resolution. And if we have a look at the wattage, currently it's using 15 watts of power for just the mini PC, which is super impressive. It's very, very efficient. And last up, I nearly forgot about this. So Amuse is an AI piece of software, but it is actually an AMD one, and this is an Intel chip. But I thought I'd download it and see if the NPU was used for it. It creates images, but without using the internet. If I turn off the Wi-Fi now, yeah, so I've got no internet now. Let's just double check that. So if we go BBC, yeah, no internet. And if I do Control-Alt-Delete, I know there is another shortcut for this, but I always forget what it is, and hit Performance, you can see NPU shows up here, 0% at the moment. So if it was going to use the NPU for this software, then it would show up and it would say what percentage. I did a Core Ultra 5 video on a mini PC, and I used, I think it was Audacity, the audio editing software, and that did use the NPU. But lots of things don't use it. The software needs to request it. Let's just put something in here. So if I put robot riding a BMX underwater, and then if I do generate images, unspecified error. Maybe it needs the internet to check something? Okay, well I'll turn the internet back on again. Let's go widescreen. Generate image. Oh, this was working fine yesterday. Right, let's close it and start it again. So if I pick, let's just go with it what it suggested. Orange cat wearing a red hat. Generate images. I don't know if it's not coming up with an error. Well, I can hear the fan is starting up. So the GPU is on 4%, CPU is on 9%. So it's using very little power to be able to do this. But if it was using the NPU, oh, there you go, GPU's gone right up there, 88, 89%. If it was the NPU, then it might be using a similar amount of power, but it should be using a lot less energy. It's all about using less energy for this. Right, so let's try that again. Robot riding a BMX under water and generate. So did it need the internet? That's pretty cool. That is all right. Obviously not using the NPU, GPU ramped up, so it would be using more energy than it would be using if it was using the NPU. And then if I go to widescreen, I don't know if you can you just do that and then generate it? Maybe it starts again. So I'm not sure if the tool needs to be online or not, but the creation is supposed to be offline. So it downloaded 10 gig of models to be able to do it. Just thinking about it, look. GPU 100%. Yeah, look, I mean, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, that with the bubbles and stuff. And, you know, so it really gives the idea of motion and being under the surface. Random wheel. And that's really weird. Don't know what's going on there. This was probably the best one. Yeah, that was cool. So I've just disconnected from the internet again, and it is working offline. And I put in a bear holding up a bus, and it's come up with some brilliant images. Check out this one. And well, I don't know what's going on there. And this one riding on top of the bus, really, really good. So if I pick a cat surfing in Hawaii, generate images. So we are offline now. We're not using the NPU. It is using the GPU. GPUs can be used for AI. You know, they have similar properties, so they're good at it. That's cool. That's nice as well. It's doing a good job. So you can hear that I can hear the fan going. So the GPU is working hard to create these images, but they're good images as well. I would say there's no issues with any of those. They really do look pretty realistic. So I can save the image. So if I pick, let's just go with that one. Save the image. How big does it save the image? 768 by 512. It's probably one of those things that if you pay more money, you get bigger images. Oh, the face is awful. Oh dear. Okay, what a shame. Because that looked like it was going to be quite good otherwise. I'm sure the others didn't look bad like that. Yeah, that face looks pretty good. That face looks pretty good. That one, I did pick the one with the worst face. Okay, so thanks to ASUS for sending me this mini PC to test. I'm very impressed. Uses very little power, but it also has great performance. Really good connectivity. Love the fact that you don't need any tool to get inside it. And Linux worked really well on it. Okay, so I hope all this helps. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.